So I was like up against, it was nothing I can. Nobody could get me out of my situation.
Chrisean Rock thought the internet was just being cruel until a doctor confirmed what everyone feared. The whispers, the rumors, the nonstop speculation about her son's health. It wasn't just hate. It was a real concern that's now been medically confirmed. From defending her child to breaking down in tears after hearing the doctor's words, we're unpacking everything that led up to this emotional moment. Bacoy has, as much as Chrisean wanted to brush it off as internet noise, the truth was always bubbling underneath. But before we get to Chrisean's emotional breakdown, let's rewind, because this story didn't start overnight. It's been building for months, with fans noticing small signs, asking hard questions, and wondering if Chrisean was ready to face reality.
Arissa had one-on-one time with me where I asked a question and the Spirit of God to lead her to plant it in my soul, and I'd be like, right. So it has all to do with parental supervision too. I mean, God will find you, but I feel like, I don't know, it's up to the parents too. Like, y'all got a whole authority, a privilege to raise a child, like raise as they should go up.
It all started when Chrisean Rock proudly introduced her baby boy, Chrisean Jr., to the world through her social media. At first, fans were excited to finally get a glimpse of her new life as a mom. She shared videos of her holding him, feeding him, and just enjoying those quiet newborn moments. But it didn't take long for the internet to start noticing something felt off. People began pointing out that in the clips Chrisean shared, the baby seemed unusually still. Viewers mentioned that he wasn't moving his arms or legs much, just kind of lying there with very little reaction to sounds or touches. Others commented on his eyes, saying they looked unfocused, or that he wasn't tracking movement the way babies usually do at that age. And then there was his cry. Fans said his crying sounded high-pitched and strained, something that some parents recognized as a potential sign of neurological issues. Comment after comment flooded Chrisean's posts. A person commented saying, "I'm not trying to be mean, but my daughter had similar symptoms and she ended up needing therapy." Another one added, "It's not hate, it's concern. I've raised 3 kids. Something doesn't look right, and the sooner she faces it, the better it'll be for the baby." And as the weeks went by, these comments didn't slow down. Every new video of Chrisean Jr. brought fresh speculation. Some fans tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, saying maybe the camera just caught him at a bad moment, but others insisted the signs were too obvious to ignore. At first, Chrisean brushed off the critics, calling them haters, but the comments kept piling up, and so did the evidence. Chrisean wasn't having it. Every time someone questioned her baby's health, she clapped back. On Instagram Live and in her stories, she defended herself fiercely. She called people miserable for picking apart her child and accused them of being obsessed with negativity. "Ain't nothing wrong with my baby," she said more than once, standing firm against the wave of online speculation. She even shared that her baby had been seen by doctors and that they told her everything was fine. According to Chrisean, there were no red flags, no medical issues that needed addressing. She pointed to his weight, his growth, and the love he was surrounded with as proof that people were just making problems where there weren't any. But the pushback wasn't just defensive, it was personal. Chrisean expressed deep frustration at people trying to diagnose her son through their phone screens. She felt attacked, like strangers were questioning not just her child's health, but her abilities as a mother. In her eyes, it wasn't concern, it was judgment. And for a while, she stood her ground, brushing off every comment, deleting some posts, and refusing to entertain the idea that anything might actually be wrong. But then came the moment she couldn't ignore, the viral video that sparked even doctors to speak out.
I have notes in my phone. Who got my phone?
You have what?
Notes.
Notes?
Yeah.
What kind of notes do you have?
The word.
And why's your tooth in?
Oh, it's a special day.
In the clip, Chrisean just was lying in her arms, and viewers pointed out again that he wasn't showing much movement or response. The video spread like wildfire, and this time it wasn't just random fans commenting. Actual medical professionals began weighing in publicly. A pediatric specialist posted a reaction video explaining that while they couldn't officially diagnose the child over social media, the signs they saw raised real concerns. They mentioned potential developmental delays, noting things like low muscle tone, lack of reflexes, and difficulty maintaining eye contact. Some even pointed to characteristics they associated with fetal alcohol syndrome, like certain facial features, poor coordination, or neurological signs. Other doctors echoed similar concerns, breaking down symptoms they spotted, from the way his limbs stayed stiff or limp to the unusual cry that kept coming up in comments. They stressed that early intervention is crucial for developmental issues and urged Chrisean to get a full medical evaluation for her son. And once those videos hit the internet, it wasn't just casual speculation anymore. It felt like a turning point. The conversation shifted from gossip to serious concern, with even people who had defended Chrisean before now quietly wondering if maybe the doctors were right. And just when Chrisean was already under pressure, Blueface's mother jumped in, and things got even messier.
You gotta be following Blue and you gotta be following Callie. Done, the nephew is blocked. Out of there. You feel me? Out of there. Till he learns some respect. Out of there. We work too hard for this shit. We done had our ass kicked and our eyes black. Please.
Blueface's mom, Carlissa, didn't mince words when she finally saw her grandson in person. Her reaction was emotional, and honestly, it caught a lot of people off guard. She admitted she felt heartbroken looking at the baby, saying she couldn't tell if he was looking at her, at Chrisean, or just staring into space. That moment, for Carlissa, seemed to confirm what so many people online had been speculating. Something wasn't right. And she didn't hesitate to call out who she believed was responsible. Carlissa openly blamed Chrisean's behavior during pregnancy, pointing to her drinking and smoking as key factors. She said plainly that the things Chrisean did while pregnant had a direct impact on the baby's condition now. Even though Carlissa and Chrisean have had a rocky relationship, she made it clear that her concern was coming from a place of love for her grandson. But Carlissa's words weren't exactly gentle. Some people felt she was offering tough love, trying to wake Chrisean up to reality. Others thought she was just piling on criticism when Chrisean was already overwhelmed. Either way, Carlissa's comments added another layer of drama to an already complicated situation and made the conversation even louder online. At this point, frustration among fans and followers was growing. A lot of people felt like Chrisean wasn't taking the situation seriously enough. They were disappointed that she hadn't gotten her son professional help sooner, especially with so many signs pointing to developmental delays. And it wasn't just random users saying this. Accusations started flying that Chrisean was keeping the baby in the public eye just to stay connected to Blueface, rather than focusing fully on the child's needs. That narrative picked up steam, especially after her former friend Janet spoke out. Janet claimed Chrisean was deep in denial about what was happening with her son, and that denial was stopping her from getting the right help. The fans weren't just mad about the condition itself. They were upset at the idea that valuable time was being wasted. Many people pointed out that early intervention could make a real difference for a child facing developmental challenges. Waiting, ignoring the signs, brushing off concerns, those were decisions that could have long-term consequences. And people weren't shy about voicing that frustration across every platform Chrisean used. Then, Chrisean made a quiet but powerful move. She stopped posting her son on social media. For someone who had been sharing so much of her life online, it was a noticeable shift. Suddenly, the baby wasn't popping up on Instagram stories or TikToks anymore. A lot of fans took this as a hopeful sign. Maybe Chrisean was finally stepping back, choosing to parent in private, and possibly getting the help her son needed without the pressure of the internet watching her every move. For a moment, it seemed like things might be turning in a healthier direction. The criticism died down a little. People assumed she was taking action behind the scenes, focusing on her son's development rather than keeping up appearances online. It felt like maybe, just maybe, she was listening. But that hope didn't last long, because when Chrisean showed up at a church event recently, the questions came rushing back, louder than ever. People noted that the same concerns about the baby's behavior and development were still visible, and just like that, the conversation reignited with even more urgency than before.
It's not about them. It's about you and God. So, shoot, if God say it's good, it's good. If he say it's not, it's not. But what y'all say don't matter.
When Chrisean showed up at the church event with her son, a lot of people were hoping to see signs of progress, but instead the concerns only grew. At nearly 2 years old, viewers noticed he still wasn't showing typical milestones for his age. People pointed out how he didn't seem to respond to his name, wasn't making eye contact, and wasn't interacting much with anyone around him. Videos from the event showed the baby sitting quietly with very little movement or reaction, even in a loud, lively environment. That blank stare people had talked about before, it was still there, and for many, that was the biggest red flag. Some viewers said he looked checked out, while others worried he wasn't connecting with the world around him the way a child his age normally would. The public took this moment as confirmation that things hadn't changed and maybe weren't going to change without serious intervention. Instead of seeing signs of improvement, they saw a child who might be falling further behind. And the frustration online reignited, with many people calling for Chrisean to stop ignoring the signs and get professional help immediately. Not long after the church appearance, everything seemed to catch up with Chrisean. She went live online, visibly emotional, as she addressed the wave of criticism coming her way. Her tone was defensive but also raw, like she was caught between standing her ground and finally letting the weight of it all sink in. She told fans that people didn't understand what she was going through. She insisted she was doing her best as a mom and slammed those who were trying to diagnose her child over the internet. But behind the defensive words, it was clear she was hurting. Her voice cracked at times, and she admitted feeling overwhelmed by the constant scrutiny. Even though she doubled down on saying doctors hadn't found anything wrong, her emotional state told a different story. You could see the battle happening in real time, the struggle between wanting to believe everything was fine and facing the possibility that it wasn't. At the end of the day, this situation isn't about pointing fingers or blaming anyone. It's about making sure this child gets the support he needs to thrive. Whether that means early intervention, therapy, or other resources, the most important thing is giving him the best possible chance at a healthy future. So what do you guys think? Is Chrisean finally ready to face reality? Or are we going to see things get worse before they get better? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more updates on this story.